Hey Dynamo Nation, this is James. If you're hurting and need help at receiver this week, you're in the right spot. Stay tuned. We're going to go over 3 deep sleepers. Hey Dynamo Nation, this is James. Welcome back. Today we're taking a look at 3 deep sleepers at the wide receiver position. Our parameters for the receivers are going to be outside of the top 36 in terms of percentages started on my fantasy league. The 3 players we're going to look at, all 3 I think have legit upside this week. I think it's a good week for deep sleep receivers. Not so much the running backs. Running backs I don't feel great about, but our receivers I feel pretty good. We're going to start off with Kadarius Toney, New York Giants. We all know what Toney did during his breakout game against Dallas. He went absolutely berserk. And then he hurt his ankle, and he got off to a great start that following week. Hurt his ankle. I think they were playing the Rams. Hurt his ankle and didn't return. He hasn't looked the same since. There's been a few weeks in between that. They're going against Tampa. The Giants are. I believe the game's in Tampa. That should be a pretty lopsided game. You would expect the Bucs to jump out to a nice lead. I would expect them to have a bounce back week after what happened last week with Washington. So based on that, Toney, I think, presents a unique upside. Tampa Bay's defense has given up the 6th most points to opposing receivers so far. So when you factor in the revenge game, Tom Brady coming off a bad loss, I think the Mike Evans and Godwins, I think they're going to be going berserk, ready to go, which is going to leave opportunities for the Giants passing game to play catch up. And I think Kadarius Toney could be a huge benefactor of that, especially going against a defense that, again, has given up the 6th most points to opposing wide receivers in fantasy. So Kadarius Toney, you're in redraft, probably sitting on waivers right now. If you're in a Dynasty format, you probably have him stashed back on your taxi squad into the bench. If you're hurting at receiver this week, I think he's definitely a boom or bust type play. But I think if he booms, it's going to be huge. This could be a huge, huge week for him. So fire him up. Get Toney in your lineup, especially if you're having one of those matchups where you're going to need a player like that to kind of go off. Our second receiver is going to be Jamison Crowder. Jets are playing Miami. Miami's defense is even worse than Tampa's in terms of giving up points to opposing receivers. They're the 3rd worst team in the league, giving up almost 50 points a week. Crowder, I'm definitely putting him in the lineup this week. I think he's got a really safe wide receiver 2-3. That's where his range should be. If you've got him, if you're sitting in a redraft, and he had a down week last week, so he may have been dropped in redraft. If he has been, I'd pick him up. I'd put him in that lineup. And that's another game. I mean, it's 2 bad teams. You don't know how it's going to go. 2 bad teams. Neither defense is great. This could end up being a shootout, or it could end up being 9-3. I mean, you just never really know. But looking at what we have, the data that we do have, going against the 3rd worst defense, he has developed into that slot role. We'll see what happens, but I'd put him in there and see where we go. And then our last is going to be Bryan Edwards. Again, it's a pretty good matchup. Cincinnati, they're the 13th worst team in terms of giving up points to opposing receivers. Edwards played pretty well Sunday night. 3 catches, 88 yards, and a touchdown. He's definitely going to be that wide receiver 2 now in that offense. And depending on the situation, he could be wide receiver 1. Beginning of the year, we all thought Edwards was going to kind of turn that corner and start having that breakout moment. They do have Renfro still there. Darren Waller's been struggling, obviously, but he still is going to demand attention. Obviously, the incident that happened with Ruggs, he's no longer in the picture. Edwards has a clear opportunity in front of him. So we have Cincinnati, 13th worst defense. He's going to have volume in that offense. Raiders do have a solid quarterback in Carr. I think he's a pretty safe play this week. He may not get the 3 for 88 with a TD, that type of great week, but I can definitely see, and I can see this game turning into a shootout because Cincinnati's, they got thumped a couple weeks ago, but Cincinnati does have a high-powered offense. So this could be a game where we're going back and forth. If that were to happen, again, more opportunities. So those are going to be our 3 wide receivers, deep sleepers at the position for Week 11. I hope you're able to get any of these guys, throw them on your roster, and hold on. I think all 3 of these guys are going to have long-term value the rest of the season. So if you can get them, stash them. Let's see what happens. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. get something useful out of the content. If you have, please consider subscribing. I'd appreciate it. And everyone have a great week. Stay safe. Hope you win. And we'll check back in. There's going to be more content coming. All right. Have a good one, guys.